a chilly autumn morning on Sydney Harbour here, but these conditions are bread and butter for the Arvor 675 SportsFish. And this boat is a mid-sized cruiser capable of long offshore runs. It combines a functional cockpit, great for fishing, with a few comforts inside the pilot house. And as always in there, you can escape the weather, keep yourself dry, safe and warm while you're running to the fishing grounds. At slow speeds, this boat is very easy to drive. It goes exactly where you want it to and it doesn't get pushed around. And people who are trolling along headlands will find that nice and reassuring. But offshore, when the chop is up and the winds are strong, this ride is best described as bumpy. It more so squashes the chop than slices through it. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. You've got to consider where you're standing in the boat. I'm no more than 3 to 4 feet from the bow, and that is an area of the boat that's going to spend more time up riding over waves and coming back down the other side. If you've ridden in a bow rider, you know that that spot in a boat can be also quite bumpy and also very wet. But the beauty of this design is I'm protected by a pilot house. I don't have to continuously duck behind the windscreen for protection to keep myself dry. I can simply stand here, laugh at the spray and press on to my fishing destination. When I talk about spray, I'm not saying that this is necessarily a wet boat. We've been running across a very strong westerly, and in those conditions, any boat is going to have spray blowing back onto itself. Inside this cabin, I'm completely protected from that. In fact, even on a cold day like today, it's been very warm in here with the sun streaming through the windows. Now this boat is powered by a 200 horsepower Mercury 4-stroke engine, and it has a lot of power for a craft of this size. If you wanted to save a few dollars, you could downsize the engine down to about a 150 at the lowest and still get reasonably good performance. The particular boat I'm on today has been fitted with a Mercury active trim, and I haven't had to touch the trim button at all throughout the day. So if you're new to boating or unsure how to effectively use the trim button, this machine does all of that for you and takes the guesswork out of getting the right ride. There is a lot of room in the cockpit, plenty enough for 4 people to fish quite comfortably. But you also notice that the transom that I'm sitting on right now is quite wide. There's maybe a sacrifice of a foot or so to what you might expect. And the reason for that is there's a large recess here right in front of me, and that's to allow the engine to come completely up and out of the water, reducing your maintenance costs. The advantage of this design is this large live bait tank right behind me. It's the biggest one I've seen on a boat of this size, and it will fit a lot of live bait. The other advantage is on the other side there's a nice little walkway entering into the boat. On a traditional design you might have a tiny little tab you can sit on and dangle your feet in the water, but here you can stretch out a little bit more and watch the kids splash around. On a boat like this, your work area is really the cockpit, and anyone keen on fishing will see there's plenty of space available in here. There's rod storage down on the starboard side. Now those rods, importantly, can't be any more than around 5'6" in length, otherwise they won't fit in that particular holder and you'll have to store them elsewhere. If this was my boat, I would add the comfort pack, and that includes these flip out seats that I'm sitting on now, nice backrest and the table here. It turns this area from your workspace into a nice place to relax and enjoy the sunshine. The seats are really comfortable. You can lean against this backrest as well while you're fishing, which makes it nice and comfortable on your upper thighs and gives you a good leverage point against large fish. But all in all, it's a beautiful place to really wind down after a hard day's fishing. Underneath the cockpit floor, you've got storage in the centre, and either side a massive kill tank. People chasing long game fish like wahoo or mackerel will really appreciate this space. It enables them to stow their fish securely and make sure that they're fresh for when they get home. To make this cockpit area more usable, you can elect to fit the optional sun cover overhead. It sits on a stainless steel framework and slides out from the back of the cabin. The canvas cover casts quite a bit of shade, and it's perfect for those hot Australian days where you need to get out of the sun. The advantage of the Arvor pilot house design is that it runs the beam well forward, creating more space in the boat overall. We've also got a sink in here, storage, a fridge, a toilet with a holding tank, another seat to my left and more storage, and up the front, with the courtesy of a few infills, we have a bed big enough for two. The Arvor 675 SportsFish is ideally suited to anyone considering long runs out to good fishing grounds. Think the Barrier Reef in Queensland, the Abrolhos Islands in Western Australia, or even a run out off the east coast to chase marlin. But on the odd occasion that you don't catch anything, it still has enough comforts on board for you to enjoy taking the family or friends out to the fish markets or an on-water restaurant.